Hello, princess. Hello, princess. Hold on. So today's podcast episode, all right, I wanted to be like comfy, cozy, casual because I wanted to like have fun today. I also was too hot to like have the blanket over here, so no fuzzy white blanket. I know it's iconic, but none of that today because we're literally wearing like sweats and a sweatshirt, and we are having like heat warnings, like severe heat weather warnings here in Florida. So, um, yeah, I don't want a blanket. Anyways, hello, princess. Hello, princess. If you guys have not seen that meme, it's basically this guy who wears a fedora and he's like laying down, like belly down on this bed. Like his feet are like swinging around like behind him, and he's wearing this fedora and it's very like from above. And then he has like sunglasses on, I believe. And it's like just this funny ass dude. And he's like, hello, princess. It's virtual backshot time. And it's just so freaking funny. I love him. He's like one of my favorites. I just feel like it's hilarious. And then there's one, or I think the one where it's like, it's virtual backshot time. He like claps his feet together like so perfectly. It makes the loudest sound. It is so funny. I love it. And yeah, like I love the Hello Princess guy. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Hello Princess, now you do. Um, but yeah, today has been a good day. It is Tuesday. I try to film every Tuesday. Sometimes it ends up being like a Wednesday. Sometimes it's a Monday, but I try to film every Tuesday. And today work was good, whatever. I came home and I was like, all right, I'm going to film whatever. I got home at like 4. I was like, okay, I'll be done filming by 6 o'clock. Tell me what it is. 6 o'clock. It is 6:08 p.m. right now, and I am just now starting filming the podcast. It's because I take way too long to get ready, and then I went live on TikTok, and I was hanging out with you guys, which if you guys don't follow me on my personal TikTok, go follow me on there, or at the very least follow the podcast TikTok so you guys can see fun clips and like some behind the scenes stuff. I feel like today is gonna be like a sunglasses on kind of day. Should we do the sunglasses on, or is that like annoying? Is it annoying? I literally hate living in Florida. It's the worst. There's bugs everywhere all the time. So anyways, today I was like feeling a lot better because I got really good sleep, and that's because Jake is home. If you guys remember from last week's episode, I talked about it a little bit, or if you don't follow me on my personal socials, maybe you should. Hey, maybe you should. But I'm so happy because Jake is home. I slept so good last night. When I picked him up from the airport, we came home and like took a nap together, and it was like the best nap of my life. I just felt so much better and so much calmer, and I don't care if that's cringy. Hey, I don't know. I have a good boyfriend and he treats me nice. I don't know. Does yours? Does yours yell at you to shut the fuck up? 'Cause honestly, like pretty base. I'm just kidding. That's not funny. If your man ever tells you to shut the fuck up, you need to leave him. He is garbage. Basura. Absolutely disgusting. I think that men like that should be quite literally like drawn and quartered. And if you don't know what that means drawn up, okay, attached to 4 different horses. And then the horses are given a signal to run, and they run in different directions, and then you are quite literally quartered. And I learned that on google.gov. So yeah. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, like I just all week Jake had gone to a bachelor party, I picked him up from the airport. But all those like 5 nights or like 5 days or whatever, I was just so tired. I just could not get good sleep because I was like paranoid about being home alone. And we just moved here, and it's like a good area. It's not like a bad area. It's like very suburban families, good area to live in. But I just get paranoid, like it's just there's 3 different entrances to the house. I'm by myself. We do have a dog, but like he's way too friendly. Like I feel if we had an intruder, Benny would be like confused and he would like ask for pets. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he would just be looking up at the intruder like, "Are you going to pet me right now?" And then hopefully his cuteness would really draw the intruder away, because he would feel bad and he wouldn't want to like mess up the life of the dog. So then he would like leave alone my dog. And my family and me. Cross my fingers. I don't think that Benny would attack them though, and I don't think that he would really do much in that regard. However, last night he did bark at Jake because Jake came home at night and then started looking through the window, and the windows on our door, it's like the door, he started looking through like the glass, and it's like fogged up. Like we rent this house and they like fogged the glass up so that you can't see all the way in, because it would be kind of weird if like people could just see right into our house, considering the way that our layout is like the way that that door is, you could look all the way into my house, because my house is like an open concept, but there are 3 entrances all in the same room. Okay, so it freaks me out because constantly I have my back to the entrance, except for when I'm in this corner, because in this corner ain't nobody coming up behind me. That's why I like this corner, right? I thought about putting my reading corner over there and then putting the dinette over here, but it just kind of felt like a weird space for like a dinette, and that corner kind of felt much better for like a breakfast nook type beat. So that's what we went with. But yeah, like just sleeping here alone at night, it had me so paranoid. So anyways, Jake comes through and he's like standing there, and Benny barked at him like 3 times, and Benny never barks, and it was like a full bark. Sometimes he'll hit like a like one of those like a like he kind of just hits one of those like one timers, like a little like huff and puff, but he doesn't bark. So when he barked, I was like, what the hell? Because I knew that it was Jake, because I'd seen his car parked out front, because he does this thing where he sits in the car for 15 minutes. Anybody else's man do this? I bet they do, because I've heard from my friends that a lot of men be doing this shit. But basically, he was parked out there, so I knew he was out there. And then I heard his car door like lock, and it was like beep beep beep. And then he comes up and then tried to open the door, and it was locked. And sometimes I lock it behind me and I don't realize. So I was like, "Oh, I'm coming." And then Benny barked, and I was like, "What the heck?" And he was like barking and like jumping on his back, like his hind legs. He was like lifting up. And I was like, this is so weird. And he's only ever really barked when I'm home alone. So I feel like he thought it was somebody who was like an intruder. And because we've been home alone so much, he was like confused, because like nobody ever comes to our front door. Like we don't have people over really. Like nobody delivers a package to that door. Like maybe every once in a while, but never like that. And they don't like come up to the window. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they kind of just drop off the package, walk away. So it was like really weird. But I feel like he probably thought that Jake was an intruder, because again, like I'd been home alone every night. So anyways, that to say, I don't like being home alone because I'm really paranoid. And I've been like that since I was a kid. And nothing's ever happened to me, I don't think, where like somebody came in, like somebody was an intruder. But I feel like it's definitely always been something that I've been worried about. Like when I was a kid, literally, I used to hide steak knives all over the house, as if I could even have the gall or the gumption to knife an intruder. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that I would have that gumption in me. I don't think I got that dog in me. And a lot of people are going to be like, get a firearm. And it's like, no, I'm not going to get a firearm. It won't make me feel any safer. I've never felt safer around somebody because they had a firearm. Like, if anything, I feel the opposite way. I don't think that even if I had the control over what is done with that firearm, that I would feel safe. So no, I'm not going to do that. Please don't even bother commenting that. I'm not a firearm queen. I've thought about it, and I think that if I'm being honest with myself, I don't think that I'm a firearm queen. Just not for me. Anyways, Jesus Christ, I went on this like whole tangent, and just to say that I'm excited and I'm happy that my man is home and I can sleep good now. So, slay. The next thing I wanted to update you guys on is I want to start doing like my recent read at the beginning of the episode, because I know that a lot of like people find me on TikTok through like my book content. So I want to like I want to make sure you guys eat. I want to give you guys crumbs. Okay. I want to give you guys a little appetizer so that way you're satisfied. And then you watch the rest of the episode because you love me and I'm going to feed you. Okay. Let me go get something really quick because I forgot to pull it before I sat down. Let me go get something. Hold on. I just realized that you probably can't hear me because I didn't have the microphone in my hand. But what I was saying is that this book is really big. Okay. It's just like not cute to hold. And I've had it on my shelf for a minute. It's kind of dusty. I've never really opened it to read at all. I haven't even tried. And I just didn't really know what this was about. I thought that this book followed 3 different women in like 3 different timelines. And one of the timelines was Vietnam. That's all I knew about this. I was kind of wrong. Okay. This is Kristin Hannah's The Women. I read this week on audio. I listened to it. I've never opened it up because, again, it's just a really big book. It's really bulky, but I think it's beautiful. Normally, I'm not a fan of a solid sprayed edge. I think it's tacky. I think it's corny. I think it's really corny. However, this had a cover so beautiful that this I felt like was honest. I feel like it was real. Now, would it have been cooler if we had this kind of like speckled gold on the red, like the cover? Yes. Again, nobody's perfect. I gotta work it again and again. I'm not getting copyrighted. Best believe. So, this, again, I was very wrong about this. I thought that this was gonna follow 3 different women. It didn't. Okay. It was about 3 women, mainly one of them, but it included the timelines and stories of 2 other women and the acknowledgement of a certain group of hundreds, if not thousands of women. So basically this follows our female main character, Frankie. And Frankie and her brother Finley are like besties. They grow up on this island in Southern California over by the beach. It's this beautiful beach town, like the perfect white picket fence family. Their parents are like super mega rich, I guess. And they are like serious supporters of, people who serve. Like many people in their family have served, except for her father. He has not served himself in the armed forces. And he has this wall called the honor wall where he's got all these pictures of all the men in service and then pictures of the women on their wedding days, because that's what women do in their family. They tolerate the men, and the men go off and they fight for their country, and then they come home and they become successful businessmen. It's just like the rite of passage in this family. So he is like super duper excited. They go and they take Finley to the Naval Academy. And of course, from there, he goes to serve in the Navy. And this is during the Vietnam War. The beginning of the Vietnam War, he goes off. And after he's over there for a while, I'm not really sure how long. After he's over there for a while, his sister, Frankie, who's our main character, she gets like tired and like she misses him, right? So she ends up going off to nursing school. And by the time she comes out of nursing school, she decides that she didn't want to work at these like random hospitals. She didn't want to do that. She wanted to go fight in the army because, somebody told her, one of her brother's friends at his going away party told her that women can be heroes too. And she, put it in her head that, she could go to the army as well, be a nurse, whatever. So she goes to school, gets her nursing license, and then signs up to go into the armed forces to be a nurse over in Vietnam, right? She thinks she's going to see her brother there. She tries to get into the Navy. They don't allow her to because they need her to have like prior experience. But the Air Force at the time was just kind of like taking whoever. So she signs up with the Air Force to go and be a nurse. And she is thrown into like this whole world, right? And the day that she signs up, hold on, I skipped something very important. The day that she signs up, something really, really tragic happens. She gets 2 soldiers knocking on her door while she's telling her parents about how she signed up to go to the Army or to the Air Force. And they find out then and there that Finley has been shot down or whatever happened. There are no remains, whatever. And so she's like devastated. Her family's like, please don't go. You know, you're crazy. This is ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. But of course, when you sign a contract, like you have to go. And it's all about like her relationships, the people she meets, the women who she works with. You know, she ends up becoming like a surgical nurse in the Army, and she sees so many horrible, like traumatic things. Like there are some pretty graphic images here. Like they're not described in like a ridiculous way, but they're described well enough that you can get the picture, right? And it's a picture you don't want to think about, right? It's a picture that on paper sometimes can seem very like whatever, but when you really think about how somebody sees these horrible images and these horrible people with their insides hanging out, babies, you know, mothers, like people burned, it brutalized in so many ways, to see that, right, at such a young age and to go through that. She does 2 tours in Vietnam. You know, of course, she falls in love, falls out of love, tragedy strikes. She meets her 2 best friends. And if you don't know anything about the Vietnam War, which I didn't really know much, this is probably a subject that I'm not that well versed on. But basically, the Vietnam War was super controversial because people ended up finding out the truth that we were losing the war, for one. For 2, we didn't really need to be over. There was a stupid war. And number 3, a lot of people started, you know, protesting and hating on the soldiers who were signing up because they were like, how can you not see what's going on? How can you not know that what you're doing is horrible and you're hurting all these people and you're killing these civilians, whatever. And it's just kind of like all about that. Now, I loved this book. This is a 4-star book. We gave it a 4 stars. My only gripe with this, and I debated giving it a 3.75 because these 2 things to me are pretty important. So the first thing that kind of bothered me about this book really was just having to do with the female main character, and it has to do with her character arc. So it's not like, I think that was very intentional, and obviously for a woman of that time period, it made a lot of sense for her to be so like male centered. Like her whole world was like the men around her that she thought were hot and that she dated and that she wasn't dating but wanted to, and this man and her brother and her father and everybody else's approval of a man, like just mostly men, and also like her mother as well, that relationship, just so many things, but just she was so male gaze centered. Do you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't in like the way that she would dress or the way that she would get ready, but in the way that she like experienced life. Everything had to do with a man. There was always a man, right? And kind of annoyed me. But we all have that friend. Like I feel like we all, as girls, like as women, we all have that one friend who, not necessarily that they like sleep with a bunch of guys, but more of just like there's always like another guy next in line. Do you know what I'm saying? Like she's talking to this one, blah 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 blah, but he did this and like they kind of fizzled out or it wasn't working, so they're kind of just like friends now. And so texted me today, and it's like he just so happened to text you today. It's like, girl, I know you texted him, just tell me, right? Like we all have that friend who like is so male centered but like in denial about it. That is Frankie. Okay, that is Frankie in the first like 80% of this book. Now, it's not like the only plot point though, okay? Because my second problem with this book was that there was so many tragedies. It was like just dealing out like another one. Like when you're playing Uno and you've got like so many cards and you're just putting them down, you're just like yeah, bitch, like, I'm winning. Like, you're getting rid of all your cards. Like, that was what Kristin Hannah was doing with this book, because she was like, how can I make everybody feel so horrible for Frankie, because she's experiencing all these, like, coincidentally horrible instances and experiences and relationships and heartbreak and loss and grief, all like back to 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 back. Like, homegirl could not catch a break. Like, she was really like down in the dumps. Like, she was in the trenches, and she wasn't. Just to make that clear, she was in the hospital, but she was in the trenches. Okay, so Frankie, being Frankie, just went on a journey. And I love that for her. And it was really a good book. But those were my two problems with it, where it kind of felt like Kristin Hannah was just trying to make her seem as like pitiful as possible, if that makes sense. So yeah, that was like my only gripe with the book. But I did love it. The narration was really good. I think this is a book I would definitely want to reread. And like, any book that I'm going to reread, if I read it the first time, I'm going to listen to it on audio. And if I've listened to it the first time, like with this one, I will be doing the reread of a physical copy, because I do think that this would be really, really good and hit even harder if I read it. Because I've said this once and I'll say it again. I think that audiobooks are so much harder to hit for me emotionally, because it's like, it's so fast, because I listen to audiobooks on 1.65, right? Or sometimes even 2x. So it's kind of like fast paced. And so I'll read like really emotional books and scenes that like made me sob. And I'll listen to it on audio, like with Fourth Wing, right? Onyx Storm. I didn't cry at the end like I did when I read the book, right? But it still hit the same. It was still like, but it's going so fast, the narration, that you don't really have time to like sit with it. Because sometimes like for example, if I was reading Onyx Storm, right, when I was reading Onyx Storm, I would be like reading and I'd be like, oh my God, and I would like close the book and I'd put it down. I'd be like, no, like, this isn't happening. And then I would have the physical book, right, and I would leave it at home, or I would have it with me. But like, it's harder to read a physical book than it is to listen to an audio. So I would be like all day waiting to read my book, and like getting the anticipation of like the next chapter, and like talking to my customers about it at work, and kind of just being like, oh my God, like this thing happened in my book, this is happening in my book, like blah 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 blah. And it kind of like creates that hype for you. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas with an audiobook, it's like like it keeps going, and it's really, really fast. So I feel like if I read that physically, like on a physical book, which again, I do own it, and I've owned it for a very long time, I think that it would make me cry, especially at certain points. I think the romance might hit a little better for me also, because again, like, part of the romance is like the build up. Like, I'm reading Just for the Summer right now in the physical copy, and I love it. And I'm sure that once I'm done, if I listen to it on audio, I'm going to love it too. Like, it's just, it hits, right? But yeah, that was like my recent read. So that's going to be a new segment at the beginning of every episode. I want to talk to you guys about my recent read. I'm going to recommend things to you, or I'm probably going to tell you if I hate books. And then it'll just be one book, though, one of my choosing, whichever one I think is the most interesting. And I feel like that's one of the most interesting books I've finished in a while. So definitely recommend you guys check out Kristin Hannah's The Women, because I enjoyed it personally. All right, let's get into today's topic, because I feel like we went on a tangent for pretty long about my life and books. But today's episode, we're going to talk about the 2000s party scene, and why I think, and why the internet thinks, people are not going out and partying anymore. Specifically Gen Z, because we are like the partying age. I feel like some millennials who are like 27, I feel like 27 makes sense for when you're like not into partying anymore. But specifically Gen Z, there are so many of us who are still in like our like 21 to like 26, and we're kind of like, we're not going out, we're not partying, we're not drinking. I'm 23, and I went to a pool party like a month ago, and I had 2 drinks, and I was hungover the next day, like really hungover the next day. So I don't know how to explain that. other than like I just don't drink. I really don't drink. And that doesn't mean I don't go out and I don't have a social life, but I'm going to talk about like kind of what I do for a social life later on. But I want to reminisce on the party scene in the 2000s because it was like it girl after it girl after it girl. Like the minute you look up on Google like 2000s party scene, like the first picture is Paris Hilton, there's Britney Spears, there's Christina Aguilera, there's Beyonce, there's, you know, all these gorgeous women. And then you look at kind of like the later 2000s, like 2010s, like 2008 to like 2012, we have like the swag era, you know, how it went from like, you know, the aesthetic went from, you know, hot skinny girls with like sparkly this and sparkly phones and beautiful long hair and like tiny little tank tops and like short skirts and like kitten heels and like to, you know, pumps and like tight dresses and like a poof and, you know, just kind of like that whole 2000s aesthetic can be two different things, right? Because we have like the early 2000s, then we have like the late 2000s. Because I feel like early 2000s was very much petite, tiny, dainty, pink, colorful, versus late 2000s and like early 2010s was very much like scene kid, swag belts, you know, kind of like more like gothic, snapbacky, more baggy clothing type B. Like there was very much like that transition, right? Because like you just kind of see all that, but it's all like just, it's, I love it. Like I love seeing videos and pictures from back then. Jersey Shore, we're talking MTV Cribs, like we're also talking all of like the music awards I used to watch and like the drama, like when Christina Aguilera was like mad at is it Eminem? I think she was like mad at Eminem for something, and like they were beefing, and it just, this whole thing, and like that era was just so much fun. But a big part of that era was like the party girl, right? Like partying and drinking and smoking and like, you know, people would like throw ragers. Like we look at movies like Project X, like that was, I think that was like early 2010s, but that movie did so well because like party culture was like on the rise and like people were partying and like all this stuff, right? And then we see the late 2010s, things start to die down. People aren't partying as much, people aren't drinking, people aren't, you know, the party culture isn't as prevalent as it was in the early 2000s and early 2010s. A lot of people don't even acknowledge the fact that nowadays in the 2020s, right, we're sitting here and we're seeing so many younger people not partying. And it's kind of like nobody's talking about it. People are aware of it, but you know, the boomers and like the Gen Xers are just like, oh, well, they're and they can't handle like their alcohol, right? Or like, you know, it's because they're on their damn phones, they're not doing anything, which we'll get into a lot of the reasons why this might be. But when I think like 2000s party girl, I don't know that many people who have that to them. I also think that like the party girl aesthetic is out, except for when we look at people like Tara Yami. I am obsessed with Tara Yami. I think that she is hilarious. I think she's cute. I think she's funny. She's a good time. Like when I see Tara's videos, I'm like, we would be besties. Like I just know me and Tara Yami would wreak havoc on the world. But I truly could not do it every day. Like I know how to have a good time. Okay, like if you guys want to see or hear stories of me talking about how I have had my party era, go check out the podcast episode where we talk about that. I will put the link down below, and then also I'll put on the screen what episode number it is so you guys can like just find it if you want to look for it. But it is a really fun episode because I talk a lot about like my partying phase, right? A couple years ago, me and my friend Maddie were like on a rampage of just like partying and going out all the time and drinking and boys and whatever. And it was a fun time. Like, don't get me wrong, I love to have a fun time. I love to dance, but I could not do that every day. I think that I'm just like, I enjoy getting good sleep and I enjoy feeling like a functioning human being. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like feeling crippled because of alcohol. So yeah, I won't be I won't be partaking in that at all. That's not true. I do like to partake in the partying and stuff. It's just not often, right? Like, not anymore. But yeah, like, you look at Tara Yummy and you see like the aesthetic, right? She has like the aesthetic of like the 2000s girl. She has the personality of like the 2000s party girl. She's very Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton is like one of her icons. She, she's just like a good time. And I feel like for me, I love to go out. I just hate partying for 2 reasons. Number 1, the alcohol. Don't like to drink. Don't like to be hungover. Can't handle it. Okay, I hate the feeling that it gives me. I hate that for multiple days after I'm like not functioning at my highest cognitive function ability that I know that I have. And I hate, secondly, that you go out, you get dressed up, you go out, you're hyping it up, pregame, go out, you're spending all this money on drinks, just for everybody in the room to like stand on the side and like, just kind of like go like this. Or you have to like grind with a dude. I'm not that girl. I'm in the center of the dance floor. I'm telling the DJ what I want to hear. I'm asking nicely. I'm not telling. I'm opening my Instagram and I'm like making a black screen and I'm taking white text and I'm putting it on my forehead and it says, please play Pepas. Okay, please. Me and my bestie love this song. It's our hype song. You need to play it. Me on there. Ask, please play Hiss by Megan Thee Stallion. I'm angry and I need a little release, right? Like, I'm asking nicely. Might throw a little 20 on the dash, you know what I'm saying? To get my way. What I got to do is what I got to do. I know how to party. I know how to have a good time. Everybody else in this room, though, doesn't. And we'll talk about why that might be in a second. But just like, it's so disappointing when you go out and you're like, yeah, like hyping it up, you and your girls, blah, blah, blah. Or like, let's say you go out with new people. This is the worst. When you go out with new people that you've never gone out with before, like partying, and you and your friends that you're close to that are there with you are like very like dance and like blah, blah, blah and go crazy. And they're very much like stick to the walls on their phones, like kind of just like talking, like not even having a good time, sitting there like just only worried about what people are thinking about them, not worried about anything else. Like girls that won't dance unless like a guy picks them out to dance. Like, you're so boring. You are so boring for that. Like, so lame for that. So yeah, I just feel like those are the 2 reasons. Like, I don't like drinking, don't like the way it makes me feel after. Everybody likes the way it makes you feel the day of, but not after. And then I just don't like that when I go. It's so disappointing because nobody wants to have a good time. It's more fun when everybody's like going crazy and dancing and stuff. It's not fun when y'all don't do that and you're just sitting there on your phones like bobbing your heads and swaying to this music. Like, no. Go home to do that then. Like, if you're just going to be on your phone, respectfully, just leave. Go home. Like, if you're going to go out, leave your house, take the effort and the time to leave your house, get ready, change, and go out. I mean, you didn't put much effort in because you're wearing literally like tiny top, big bottom, Vans or Chucks or something stupid, sneakers. Don't even get me started. The club is for sandalias or heels, nothing else. Y'all bitches wearing sneakers to the club truly couldn't be me. Honestly, it could be, but not to like the club. I feel like that's like a bar setting, which don't even get me started on bar settings. Like, I hate loud bar setting. I hate it. Okay? Because it's loud because people are talking, not because people are dancing. Like, it's not loud because like they have good music on. It's loud because like Jonathan over there like has his mom's Amex ready to go for boys' night, and he's pissed because Tiffany's over there macking on the liberal cowboy instead of him. All right, that's why it's loud. It's not loud because any dancing or fun is going on. So I really like the club setting more than like the bar setting, to be honest with you. Because I don't like to drink. I don't want to sip on a drink unless I'm like on the beach. Unless I'm having dinner. I don't want to sip on a drink and look at you in the eyes and listen to you yap. Because bars are like where people go to like be angry and sad. When you go to the club, it's too loud to talk. It's too loud to tell me about your shitty wife. It's too loud to tell me about how your man cheated on you. I don't care. I'm here to have a good time. I'm not a bar girl. So I feel like it's acceptable to wear t-shirts and like tennis shoes to the bar, but the club, no, absolutely not. Anyway, so I Googled like what is up with this, and there's like a lot of studies that have been done. There's a lot, but they all kind of say the same thing. So I just kind of like copy and pasted into my notes the reasonings that the Google AI gave me. So there's quite a few here that I didn't even think about. The first one is that a lot of young people are prioritizing mental health and like physical health over, like drinking and stuff, which is so, I feel like, true. At least in my area, a lot of the young people, it's like trendy to go to the gym. It's like trendy to be fit, right? Like I got into the gym when I was like 19, like, it's definitely like a young person thing, but especially because it's been made so trendy online with brands like Gymshark and Alpha Lead and Define and Fitness Fashioness, and there's so many brands out there that have grown on social media because they've marketed fitness to people, and it's like a fun time. Like we had like the weightlifting era, we had like the pickleball era, we had like the Pilates era right now. Like there's so many, I wouldn't say eras because I feel like they all kind of happen at the same time, but more of just like those different areas of health and fitness and wellness that have come up. Like yoga's had its moment definitely on the internet. I feel like more and more people are wanting to take care of their bodies and their minds, and I think that that's great. I think a lot of kids also are focused on their mental well-being. Like a lot more young people are going in therapy and getting medicated for the things that they need to be medicated for, and taking care of their mental by, cutting off toxicity and keeping like a low stress, state of mind, or at least trying to, and, in this economy. But I didn't think about that. Like, I feel like that's pretty true. Like, when I go to my gym, right, there's a lot of young people there. And, like, that's an awesome thing. Like, I love that there's so many young people there who are wanting to be, a part of something like that. I think that that's awesome. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's great to me. I don't know. No complaints there. I think also it's like a lot of kids have seen how alcohol has impacted their families. Like, my dad and my mom, they like to drink. They're not like heavy drinkers or anything, but I've definitely seen like some tomfoolery when they're drunk when I was younger. So it's kind of like, you learn like, oh, that's probably like not a good thing. And then like the anxiety that you get from when your parent is like drunk at the beach and you're like there and you're like, oh, we're drunk. And then when you get old enough, you realize like, oh, they need to take me home. They're drunk. Like I just went to this dare thing where they did this whole scene where this girl ends up, unaliving her friend because she did this. Am I going to make it home? Right. And then you have anxiety. I don't know. I feel like this is really like a Hispanic moment for me. So if your parents didn't do this, also like whatever, they never like put me in actual danger. They would wait hours, until they drove and stuff, and they never got like crazy or anything, like no blacking out, none of that stuff. But they've definitely like had a good time, and then like shortly after like driven us home, and it's been like, I don't know about you, but like as a kid, I feel like that kind of like that's something that I do remember, like specifically. Like we used to dog on my mom because like the one time she got like really drunk in front of us, she like literally peed herself on the beach or something, and then we tried to get her to like walk in a straight line and she couldn't. She fell over, and it was really funny, and like that's like a core memory in my head, and we used to like dog on my mom all the time for it. And she's like, the one freaking time I never drink in front of you guys except for this one freaking time. But then after that, like it just became like a casual thing. It was kind of like, oh, like we know you drink, so I feel like that also has impacted kids because they're like, they know that drinking isn't like necessarily the best thing for them. Like they know it's poison. Like they know. I think that also a big thing is, at least in my area, so where I live in Florida, specifically Southwest Florida, there is a lot of like kava bars, which are basically these bars that sell euphoric teas and like ceremonial style drinks, right? So kava is this plant. I'm not that educated, okay? So if I'm wrong on this, I think it's like related to the pepper plant. I think both kava and kratom are related to the pepper plant, but that might be wrong. I think one or the other. I don't know. But kava is the root of this plant, kind of like ground up and then mixed in like a certain way. Everybody has their own way that they brew this kava, right, to make this drink. And it's like native to, I believe, the Pacific Islands, but somewhere in Asia. And it is used in tribal ceremonies as like just like a ceremonial drink, like a cheers, like a toast, right? So they would make it and then they drink it out of like coconut shells and like bowls and stuff that they make. And they mix it all up in like this big pot, and then like let's say they welcome somebody, or somebody gets married, or somebody had a baby, or they're doing like a spiritual practice. It usually is like a celebration of community. They would all share a bula, which is just this kava that they make, and then they take the shot. It's like a little tiny bowl, like the size of my hand, and then you take the shot, and it's bitter, kind of tastes like dirty water, which I know like sounds horrible, but it numbs like your tongue a little bit, and then it kind of just like helps you relax. It's kind of, I always explain it in the way that's like, it's kind of similar to CBD. So it's not going to get you like super fucked up, like, right? But it's going to make you feel relaxed and like chill, right? And then the more you drink, like the more intense that feeling is. Sure. And then there's kratom, which is a different plant, but again, I think it might also be related to the pepper plant. I'm not really sure. But it is the leaf of the kratom plant, and they take that, they grind it up, and then they make it into like either powder or crushed leaf, which is just literally like the leaf all crushed. And then they steep it and make it into like a tea, right? They mix it with water. Some places put like lemon juice and like these different chemicals or whatever. Not chemical, that sounds bad, but they use a different brewing process. Again, every bar is different, and these are kind of like coffee shop style bars. Like they look like a coffee shop, but they're open usually later. So most of them don't open until like 10, if not noon. And then they're open till like from 12 to 2 in the morning. Some places will just close whenever people leave. Like I've heard of people hanging out at a coffee bar till like 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. So I don't know how they do it. I've never done it. I don't know how they do it, but they do it, right? So they take that and then they put it in a cup, and then they add like, you can drink it straight up, or you can add like, most places, the way that I get my drink is the kratom, right? And then there's different like strains too, because it's like there's green, and then there's red, and then there's white, and then there's gold and stuff. And there's like, tons of information about this. There's a lot of also like negative things. I think my personal opinion is like, you need to find out what's best for your body. Also, like, this is not me like advising anybody to like go off and like start drinking this stuff. Like, do with this information what you will. I'm just trying to explain to you what it is so you get like an idea of why I like to go there, right? So they serve these drinks, and a lot of these places also just serve like coffee and tea, like regular tea. Like last night I had just like a detox tea, and it was delicious with like a little bit of honey in it, and I got it iced, and it was amazing. So, some of these places serve like coffee, tea, energy drinks, sodas, whatever you want. So they're cool places. Usually they're very like bougie styles. A lot of them around here have pool tables because it's like very popular in like the pool community. Like I've played at tournaments at multiple different bars, and it's just like a good time. It's like a fun vibe to go there. There's tons of young people, and typically tons of young people who also don't like to drink, because it's like almost like an alternative space from like bars and clubs and stuff like that. And they're supposed to be sober environments, right? Like no alcohol. Now there's like a argument of like whether or not they are similar to alcohol or drugs or whatever, and in some states it's not legal. I think all across the US kava is legal, but I think in some states and in Sarasota County kratom is illegal. In Florida is Sarasota County, but all of the rest of Florida it's legal. And kava, I think in Florida is like an 18 plus drink, and then kratom is treated like alcohol, so it's 21 plus. Even though I don't think that they mess with your cognitive function, I have definitely like had like one too many of these drinks. Like usually like 3 or 4 is like too much for me, because I usually stick to 1, max 2. And then depending place to place, some places have stronger drinks, some places have weaker drinks, just depends. And then you can also choose like your strength. Like you can do smaller drink, more juice, less of that stuff, or you can do without it. Like the bar that I go to a lot, they do just straight up mocktails. Like they do this really good like strawberry milk mocktail thing, and it's delicious. So that's an option. They have like kids mocktails and stuff. So these places are just really cool, like third spaces almost. It is free to entry, but you're supposed to like buy a drink. So I guess not. I guess it's not a third space then. But they're just like cool places that are open late. I like to go there to get work done. I like to go there to like play pool, get work done, chill, hang out, talk. That's a place where I want to like chill, hang out, and talk, because the music is loud enough where it's like it's permeated around the room. It's a good vibe, but it's not loud that you have to yell over it like at a bar, right? And they're typically just very chill places. And like the people who work there are usually really nice. Like, and they're really popular in my area. There's like literally within 5 minutes from me, I could go to 3 different bars. Swear. Within 5 minutes. So, it's very popular around here. Anyways, I feel like as somebody who doesn't like to drink, that is great for me because it doesn't make me feel sick. It doesn't make me feel... And now everybody's different. I've definitely seen people have like weird reactions to it. You definitely can't mix with alcohol these drinks, or you shouldn't. And again, check if it's legal in your state. I don't really know. It's kind of like gardening. It's kind of like state to state, but I believe kava is legal across all U.S. states. And you can like get it in like pill form as well, and it would like help you with like energy and like random stuff. I don't know. Okay, I'm not an expert. Do your own research, please. Be careful. And also, because there's a lot of like synthetic crap out there when it comes to this, like definitely like do your research and make sure that like if you decide to go try it, like you're safe and you bring people with you and like whatever. But I was recommended it, and I have been going to these bars for like 5 years now. Anyways, let's get back to this list of like reasons why Google's AI found that Gen Z doesn't go out. Number 2 is financial concerns. This is facts, okay? It is expensive to go out sometimes. Some of these places charge like $16 for half an ounce of liquor and like Red Bull. It's insane. Also, like the entry sometimes is expensive. Ubering there and back is like $60 to like $100 depending on how far you go and where you live, obviously. But like for me, if I go downtown, if I get Ubered there, in this downtown, it might be like $25 from here, versus from here to like Naples downtown would be like $60-$80. And then the later it gets, the more expensive it is, and like the more scarcity of Ubers there are, the price goes up. So like it just depends, but you could spend a lot of money on one night out, right? Like maybe like $300 just to go out. And you can also go out for like super cheap, whatever. But it's not like the cheapest thing. And then it's like you're hungover the next day. It's just like not even worth it. So I feel like, rent is at an all-time high. Like people are struggling to pay groceries and gas and like basic necessities. So like spending money on alcohol is just not what people are focused on, especially young people, because, they would rather spend their money on like stuff, right? Like not going out, whatever. This is the next one that I didn't like. I felt like, yeah, maybe this is a thing, but I didn't really think about how it really could impact this specific subject, like people not going out, which is, the changing in social landscape, because people spend more time in online spaces because it's more convenient. It's cheaper typically. Like let's say you're hanging out playing video games with your friends. Sure, you paid $60 for the video game. Okay, but now you get like hundreds, if not thousands of hours of playtime with your friends, hanging out, chopping it up, right? Like that's a fun time. Some games are free, it just depends, right? Or, hanging out with your friends on social media by like sending them TikToks and, FaceTiming them and, just kind of like doing everything online with your friends. So yeah, I feel like that makes so much sense because, it is convenient to just FaceTime your bestie. It is convenient to just like send your bestie like reels while you're scrolling at home, right? Because then it's like you don't have to drive anywhere. Even sometimes I've heard people talk about this, and Jake used to do this to me a lot when we were first dating. And I like immediately, I was like, that bothers me so much. And it was, I saw a TikTok of these two couples sitting on their phones, both just kind of staring at it. And then it pans over to the girl, and she's like, that's called like techno interference, which is like the technology is interfering with their relationship and their ability to connect. And I was like, oh shit, like I didn't know there was a word for that. But if you didn't know, it's called techno interference. And it's like people will hang out in the same room and just be on the phone. And like Jake and I sometimes do that, right? But we also try to like make very intentional time for like, even if we're watching TV, but we're watching it together, not like I'm watching it and he's on his phone, right? Or like it's nice to do separate things in the same room. Like I have my reading corner, and then like right over there is the couch and the TV, and he'll play video games or watch anime while I sit here and read. And it is nice to just kind of like exist in the same space, especially like when you live together, kind of romanticizing the like coexisting it's a good time. But also making time to do things like actually together. So like we'll watch TV together, we'll play a game together, like we'll do like a co-play. And recently we've been talking about like if I start watching an anime that he chooses, he'll read a book that I choose. And he doesn't read, so I've been like really trying to think on what book I should get him to read. And if you guys have any suggestions, comment them down below. But I think I'm going to have him read just for the summer, because if this goes well, if I like the book, I want him to read it, because I think that he is exactly like Justin, and I think that he would love Justin's character and all the characters around it. Like it's a very cute, funny book, so I think he would really like it. But yeah, like people hang out together and then they're just on their phones. And like in relationships, they'll do that a lot, where like one of them, if not both of them, are on the phone while they're supposed to be spending time together. And it is like so hard to stop doing it if you don't know that you're doing it, or if nobody tells you that you're doing it. All right, well, let's go through these next ones, because I think that these are also really interesting. Safety concerns is listed on here. Like it says some young people, particularly women, may feel unsafe or uncomfortable in certain party environments, leading them to choose safer or more controlled social settings. And I agree with that too. Like I hate that a big part of going out is men wanting you to flirt with them or you to dance with them in exchange for free drinks. Because like, bro, no, right? Like I don't want to do that. Now, like I said, sometimes when it comes to waiting in line, I will bat my eyelashes at a man, but you can't touch me. You're not going to touch me. Nothing's happening. Like, I'm just not that kind of, like, I'm just not that kind of girl. Like, I really am not. Like, it makes me super uncomfortable. I hate when men try to touch you, try to be on you. Like, I didn't tell my man, okay, but I went to this baby shower this weekend for my friend. She's so beautiful. And there was a guy there, and, I didn't really know him. I don't remember his name. Never seen him before, but he is friends with her or whatever. And he wasn't, like, disrespectful or nothing. He wasn't, like, doing nothing weird. But we took, like, a group photo, right? And I got put between him and my friend. And, it's fine. And, we're standing there, and he just, like, immediately put his hand on my hip. He didn't put his hand on my butt. He didn't touch my butt. He didn't, like, caress me or anything like that. He just put his hand on my hip because we're taking a group photo. He's right there, right? But it made me feel some type of way. I was like, bro, why are you touching me? Like, we don't have to touch. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I've had men definitely, like, put their hand on my shoulder. But, like, for you to put your hand on my waist, I was like, oh, like, like, this is kind of weird. Like, I don't know you, and, like, we're not friends. Like, I don't really know you. We've met just now, like 5 seconds ago, but like, it's weird. I feel like that's something super intimate that you do with like the girl you like, not just like some girl you just met. Unless you're trying to like holler at her, right? Like, I don't know. So like when he did it, I was like, oh, and I had the thought of like, no, fucking call his ass out. Like, why is he touching your waist? And then I was like, there's no need to make a scene here. And I was like, okay, like, whatever, like, it's fine. But like, if he had done anything like super creepy, like, caress me or like go any lower, any higher, like 100% I would have said something and I would have snatched his arm off. And I almost had the feeling like maybe I should just kind of like nudge it off and like so he knows, but like not say anything to anybody else there. but I just, again, I feel like that was so dramatic for something so subtle. But to me, it was like absolutely not. Because I don't know if it's just the way that I was like raised or something, where like my mom like instilled the fear of God in me when it came to like being around men. But I just like have always been like that. I hate it when men want something from me, right? So like I get that completely. Like I get that, because that is another reason why I don't like going out very much. Says here also, personal preferences. Some individuals simply prefer quieter, more relaxed social activities, or have simply outgrown the party scene. I feel like, yeah, most young people now, like the clean girl aesthetic is in, like self-care is very prominent. People love to read and like chill and hang out at home, do cozy things, cozy games. So I can definitely see that. And then I also see, it says, shifting priorities. According to a study published in a recent magazine, there has been a general decline in social event participation among all age groups, with the youngest group experiencing the largest decline. Yeah, I just feel like people do genuinely have different priorities. So I guess that makes sense. But yeah, let me know in the comments, do you guys party? Are you like into the party thing? Are you not into the party thing? Are you like what's your favorite thing to do with the girls? Saturday night, it's open, it's free. What are y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what activities are y'all up to? Let's get into really quick my yuck and my yum of this week. My yuck of this week. We're gonna start on a negative note because whatever. My yuck of this week is people talking about Hulk Hogan as if he is an icon. He's not an icon. Sorry. He's never been an icon. And if you really were that much of a fan of him, you would know about the controversies. You would know about his actions. Like recently, like right before he passed, and you wouldn't be out here posting about him that much if you didn't agree with him. So hey, thanks for exposing yourself. Moving on, my yum of this week is, let me show you guys these books that I bought the other day. They've been sitting right next to me this entire time, but I'm going to show you guys. Look at how beautiful. Oh my gosh. So, I recently read the Poppy War trilogy. Well, I read the second book in the Poppy War trilogy. I finished it. So, I went to go pick it up at Barnes, and then I found these copies, these editions of them. And this is the first one with the sprayed edges of the fire. Beautiful painting on the back and the front, right? Like, beautiful. And there are also drawings in here. I realized last night, I was like, I opened it to show my friend. And, like, look at these beautiful drawings that are in here. I don't know if you guys can see them. It's kind of hard to show you. But, like, they're just beautiful. And there's tons of them in there. So I went through these ones in here last night. I did not go through the second book's drawings. But, like, look at how beautiful. It's, like, water. I didn't take off the barn sticker yet. I know. I'm sorry. But, like, look how beautiful. I'm in love with them. They're going to look so good together. Let me show you. Hold on. Like, tell me these don't look amazing next to each other. They're just so beautiful. So, yeah, that's my yum for this week. I just wanted to show you guys my new books because I have a problem. But that's going to be it, you guys. I love you guys so much. Make sure you guys check out the podcast on TikTok, Instagram. Follow me on my personals at Gabby.Giselle_ on every single platform. And I will see you guys later.